Good afternoon.
Howdy.
Welcome. Welcome to Monday. Dear God.
That's right.
That was weird, man. Like I didn't get any kind of like things. Oh, show's live. Nothing
Oh,
pops up like normal. It's weird.
we're on. You don't see it now?
No,
Counting
no,
down.
no, no. That's fine. That's great.
Yeah, we're on. We're good.
I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Well, there you go. Look at
I
that.
know. Yeah. Um,
Howdy.
yeah, it's a Monday. It feels like a Monday. I don't know. I felt like it's Monday all day long. It's like, yeah, and I don't even do anything. I mean, that's the messed up part. Like, I don't even have an actual job yet.
Right.
And so, like, Monday shouldn't be anything like it should be like every other day for me. But
Dude, you know what? They stay that way. I mean, you know me. My sleep schedule is so goofy. Like you've told me 100 times, you don't even know when to call me
yeah,
because
no.
because sometimes I'm up at 6 a.m. and sometimes I'm up at 3 p.m. and sometimes I'm not up at all during the day. I really am in a goofy sleep schedule, but I
Yeah.
always know when it's Monday.
Yeah.
Just because Mondays suck. They just suck. They suck for everybody.
So much to talk about. So we got
Yes.
White Snake, TSO, Joel
Joel Hoekstra.
Holstra coming up
Yes.
in just a little while. I got a message from Joe Burdick Custom Flags.
Okay.
He was on his way home,
Okay.
and he received an envelope from Mr. Donald Trump.
Really?
Yes.
Was it an envelope to be stuffed with dollar bills and
I
sent
don't
back
think
to
so.
Mr. Donald Trump?
I think it was a number for Stormy Daniels. No, it was just an envelope, I believe, thanking him because I believe he got the former president
Oh,
a
that's
flag.
right. Nice. Very nice.
So I have the faith and belief and hope that there will be once again
Right.
that flag will be hanging in the White House, which would be sweet.
Nice. A Joel Burdick flag. That would be awesome.
Yeah, so maybe Joe will call in later. We'll see.
Sure.
I guess I want to get started with what everybody is talking about.
Joel Hoekstra coming on at 4:45.
It's exactly what everybody's talking about. Well, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
I think my wife and her sister are probably a tad bit more excited about that.
That's funny.
I don't understand. We get all these rock stars on, and the only reason one of the many reasons why I like doing that is because if my wife watches,
Right.
it generally means a better night for me.
Nice.
Because
like,
we get
yeah.
what?
You're like, yeah, look at what I'm doing for you, honey. And then I'm sure that's how you present it too, isn't it?
I think it's more or less it's like putting a poster on the ceiling of the bedroom. Like, I mean, she gets to look at the good-looking rock star, and then I got to talk to the good-looking rock star, and so I guess I'm associated with the good-looking rock star.
Well, just take full credit for it. Say, yeah. You know what, Heather? This is who I brought to the show today. Just take full credit, dude.
Absolutely. I have his personal cell number.
That's right. I just reached out and said, hey, Joel, you want to come on this week?
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Yeah, come
What
on.
do you got going on? Nothing. Come on, you got to go on the show.
Yeah, come on. Why not?
So everybody seems to be talking about the great Jim Brown.
Yes.
So I'm going to play some highlights. We can reminisce about the.
Okay.
Not that I was alive to know what Jim Brown was, but
Me?
all right, that's enough. We don't need to see all.
Yeah, they're all touchdowns. We get it.
He's a great player. He was a fantastic player. Jim Brown,
the greatest in many people's minds.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
He did a lot of hitting in his time.
On and off the field.
On and off the field. And so that's kind of my point. And I'm going to take probably some shit for this.
Okay.
But all these people out there, especially on the left, hate people that are bad people and say you can't do the job if you're a bad person. You have to be a good person. Yet all I've heard is praise for one Jim Brown for
Okay.
days now.
Sure.
Well, I don't I have it on my phone, the article, so to speak. Let's run through some of the things that Jim Brown was good at other than football.
Okay.
On June 9th, 1968, Brown was booked on suspicion of assault with intent to commit murder against his girlfriend.
Sure.
The woman, a model, was found semi-conscious and moaning on a concrete patio 20 feet below the balcony of Brown's Hollywood apartment.
Ouch.
So she took a hit, and a
Yeah.
nasty one.
That's right.
See, I'm going to get a lot of shit. Sorry, Sandy. Oh, yeah. Let's continue.
Okay.
1965, an 18-year-old accused Brown of assault and battery in an East Side Cleveland motel, later alleging that he fathered her child.
Wow.
Looks like she took a couple of hits in different ways.
Yeah. Couple parts of her anatomy took a beating.
Took a beating. Man. In 1985, Brown was booked on suspicion of rape and sexual battery in Los Angeles, following a complaint by a 33-year-old school teacher. She claimed Brown punched her in the face, choked her nearly unconscious, and threatened to break her ribs before sexually assaulting her.
Okay. All right.
In 1999, Brown was tried in Hollywood Municipal Court on domestic violence charges after his wife called 911. According to reports, he was accused of making a terrorist threat and vandalism for smashing her car with a shovel.
Wow.
His wife, however, pleaded with police detectives not to arrest the Hall of Famer.
Well, there you go. Not guilty.
So Brown denied all these allegations in every case.
Okay.
Saying, quote, "I'm no angel. I've never been convicted."
There you go. See? Innocent.
Yeah, that means everything's fine.
That's right.
So my point is that all of you heard for the past however many days since he passed away, they even have billboards. Like I was driving down the highway the other day, and there's like a billboard that lights up and stuff, and about how great Jim Brown was. Oh, Jim Brown, rest in peace. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm sure he was a great activist, and yes, he was a fantastic football player. Maybe the best player that we've had.
Best football player that we've had?
Maybe best sports star that we've had.
All right, I'll hang on that for a little while because
we can discuss that in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get back to that.
So my question is, why haven't you heard any of the bad stuff? And my other question is, why are all these leftist people out there saying, "Oh, Jim Brown was the greatest person of all time," but they hate Donald Trump? Donald Trump, who supposedly maybe had sex with a porn star, ran some businesses that people didn't necessarily like, maybe went broke a couple of times, maybe did like every other rich person does and did tax loopholes, took advantage of the system.
Sure.
But he was running the country in a way that was a good way. He was running the country positively. So when you get people, I'm not going to mention names, when you get people that sit there and hold their head and start crying and moaning and whining over Donald Trump because he was a terrible person. What a terrible person. I hate his tweets. He's a dick.
Right.
But I love Jim Brown. What a great person. Jim Brown, fantastic activist, football player. We should build a statue to Jim Brown.
Oh, we did?
Yes. Who beat the hell out of women.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Threw one out of a window over a balcony.
Off a balcony.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I forgot. He was never convicted.
That's right. So innocent.
After women changed their stories, pleaded with police not to arrest him, not to do anything. In fact, the one woman, after she pleaded with police, I believe the officer said that she came to him and said, "But please put this down in reference to just in case anything happens in the future." Just in case. Anything didn't happen now.
Hey,
but just in case something happens in the future, I want you to know.
That worked out well for Nicole Brown Simpson, by the way.
Yeah, it worked out great for her.
Worked out great having evidence in a storage just in case.
Yeah, the officer acknowledged that Her eyes were red. She was shaky, and yeah, okay. He wasn't convicted. I'm sorry.
Hmm. Well, there you have it. I mean, not convicted. My here's what I think, dude. And this you may agree, you may not agree, and that's okay. If you're gonna act like an asswipe, like a typical liberal would, then it's fine to convict Jim Brown today in the wake of his death for the bad things that he did. If you're gonna be a Republican and forgive Donald Trump for grabbing the girl by the pussy or for banging Stormy Daniels or for bad business or whatever, then you kind of got to let Jim Brown go too. You got to say, okay, he's doing his thing. He did his thing. He repented and he went 25 years without a charge.
Now, let me just say this though: I have
Okay.
not really given my opinion on whether I like Jim Brown or not.
True.
I was just pointing out that the hypocrisy of saying what a great guy he was.
Yeah.
And what a great person, activist, and football player, and everything he was. But nobody wants to bring up the rest of the garbage that comes along with Jim Brown.
No.
I personally don't care.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Whatever. I don't care what he did ever off the field.
When it comes to who I like on the field, I don't really care.
Yeah.
If Ray Lewis was on our football team, as long as we won a Super Bowl, I'd say yes, he's a scumbag and a piece of crap, but he won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, dude. if the sexual assaultist that we have playing quarterback wins us a Super Bowl, he'll be my favorite sexual assaultist of all time.
There you go.
I will wear his jersey proudly as a Browns fan because I really don't care. There's people in general, and I'll say this about football first, but I'll say it about life in general. If you don't know the person directly, stop pretending that you do. Stop pretending that you're outraged about things that you're not outraged about. These guys are all the Cleveland Browns as players, past, present, future. They are blips on your screen 16 weeks a year and live combatants 1 game a year that you go generally. That's what they are. So accept them for what they are. They're entertainment to you. They're the same as a ticket to a movie theater. They're the same as a subscription to Netflix. That's all they are. They're not more important than that. Don't give them more importance than that.
And people will say, well, you say that you don't like LeBron James. Well, I know I don't like LeBron James.
Sure.
And the only reason I don't care about the championship that LeBron James brought to this town is not necessarily because of LeBron James. I just don't like basketball.
Sure.
I'm just not a basketball fan.
Yeah. No, I
Never
get
really
that.
have been a basketball fan. So I could care less if we won 10 championships in basketball. It's just not my thing.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
But I think LeBron James is a dick. Somebody posted last night, and he's a friend of mine. And if you're listening, I apologize, but I mean, he posted how great LeBron is because he got married and he was handed all this money, and you don't hear stories about LeBron, and he has kids, he's involved in the kid's life and everything. Okay, well, so am I. But there's no award for being involved in your kid's life. There's no award for being married. It's kind of what you're supposed to do.
Well, we're now in a society that expects anybody that makes money and becomes a celebrity to be a douche. So literally, you have to celebrate the ones that aren't. And believe me, I can't stand LeBron. I hope he never comes back to Cleveland. I thought he was a cancer the entire time he was here, first time and second time. And he's a liar, and he's a shit talker, and the way the team kissed his ass with his posse was just insanity, just crazy. That being said, you cannot argue that he's one of the best behaved sports stars that we have seen in the public eye in decades.
Okay, and again, I just think that, but you don't hear about the behaved ones. Because there are a lot of athletes out there that do what they're supposed to do. There's a lot of athletes out there.
Yeah, but I'm talking about superstars.
Yeah,
most of the superstars end up being Antonio Brown.
I don't like LeBron because I just think he's an ass. I think he's an ass the way that he left Cleveland doing it on national TV.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that was just stupid. I think he was an ass the way that he treated the Indians when He went to a game. They
where the Yankees
treated him like royalty to get him inside the park, gave him the seats, all that kind of stuff. And then he wears a Yankees hat in our stadium.
Yeah.
I think he's an ass just because I think he's an arrogant tool.
Sure.
But he's a great player. There's no taking that away. And he brought Cleveland a championship, if you like that kind of thing. I'm just not into the basketball thing. But I don't think you should get an award because you are a family guy.
I don't think that's the only reason they're trying to say that he should be celebrated. I think what they're trying to say is that he's the lone super mega star that we've ever had in Cleveland that didn't act like an ass.
I don't think Bernie Kosar act like an ass.
Bernie's had how many DWIs?
Yeah, I guess that's kind of act like an ass.
That's not being straight laced. Bernie made enough money to hire Uber or a cab or whatever. And I'm not trying to hammer on him either. But there you go. That's about the biggest thing you've ever heard publicly about LeBron is that he's horrible. He's a horrible tipper.
There was a Sharon Reed rumor, but those are just rumors. I'm not here to talk about rumors.
Yeah.
But Gunner, you're probably right. But I know Sharon Reed. She's very nice.
Yeah. Andre Thornton. Come on. Andre Thornton was an average player on a bad team, which made him seem like a great player.
A superstar.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other superstars that we've really had here.
Yeah. I mean, Albert Bell? No.
Well,
Tomey? But Tomey screwed the city.
He screwed the city, but I don't know if he was. We don't like him because of what he did that way. But
yeah.
I don't think he was necessarily.
Tomey might be one. I mean,
Ramirez.
Manny's a goof, and Manny really didn't. The thing that's weird about Manny is, he only spent half his career here. Not even half his career here. He spent the bulk of his career away from Cleveland. So I don't know that you count Manny all the way in. I think Tomey spent half his career here. The good half. Well, not even the good half, because he was good with the Phillies, too. But Tomey might be one, but he left. I mean, that's the big problem, is if you're trying to find a superstar that played here, I mean, you got to go way back. Bob Feller,
I heard he was kind of an ass too, but
I don't know what Bob Feller's story was. I mean, that was 1940s.
Mark Price and those Cavs.
Yeah, but they didn't win anything.
Well, they were close.
I mean, if you're going to do that, then you got to put World B. Free up there, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem. Is we are a city that lacks enough celebrity to make this justification. I mean, who? I mean, we're 5 stars in, and we're getting into Rick Manning territory. I mean, that's really the sadness of it. Or Jerry Dubzinski or whatever, Tom Verizon. I mean, we're really kind of getting to the bottom of the barrel fast. I mean, who would you have for the Browns? Even Webster Slaughter. What's the guy that ran the kicks back? He's a really nice dude too, and I can't think of his name with the dreads. Cribbs.
Oh, Josh Cribbs.
Yeah. Josh Cribbs. Josh Cribbs.
He's a Hall of Famer if you want to look at the stats that he had, and I love Josh.
Yeah.
And he's a super. All right, I would put Josh in celebrity category, one of the best punt returners, if not the best punt returner of all time.
Okay, but what does that get you in the national spotlight? The best punt returner of all time.
I know. But he's also a great guy.
Who's he competing with? Just in that category of punt returner, who's he competing with? The dude from Chicago, whatever that guy's name was, and he was a scumbag. I can't remember his name, but he just constantly ran back for touchdowns.
But Josh also was a good guy, though.
Yeah.
So you don't hear anything bad about that guy.
And who's the other one? Billy White Shoes Johnson. I mean, this dude. When you talk about LeBron, and again, I want to state this again. I hate him. Hate him. Hope he never comes back. Hope he's eliminated tomorrow or whenever they play. I can't stand LeBron James. I always want him to lose. But when you look at the category, the caliber of superstar that he is He's compared to the elite of the elite. He's compared to MJ. He's compared to Wilt Chamberlain. He's compared to Oscar Robertson, the elitist of the elite in basketball.
Yeah.
Whether you take him as 1, 2, or 3, he's there. So he's on that level. Jim Brown, clearly, eight rushing titles in 9 years, and just quit at the prime of his career to go be an actor or whatever, beat women or whatever it was that he was doing after he left the football field. You know, he was an elite player, and he did bring the Browns one of their very few championships. You know, so he's in that rare air. I mean, if you talk about the greatest running backs of all time, do you put, I mean, who's the all-time leader in yards? Emmitt Smith, I think. If it's Emmitt Smith, do you put him above Jim Brown? Don't think so.
No. Walter Payton above Jim Brown? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put Walter Payton above Jim Brown.
Maybe. I don't know about Walter Payton being above Jim Brown. Payton had some rough years, too. There were some years at the end of his career when that guy, what was that guy's name? Neil Anderson was splitting carries with him. You know, O.J. Simpson. Forget the killing part of O.J. I mean, O.J. was you can't take away how good O.J. was on the field.
No, you can't. You can take his bust out of the Hall of Fame, apparently. But
yeah, but you know, and that therein lies where the problem comes with Jim Brown. If we're taking O.J. out of the Hall of Fame and out of the running, you know, now you can't even say that he was a good Bills player. I'd imagine that in Buffalo you cannot mention O.J. Simpson. You know, right? Don't you think?
I guess. I don't know. I love O.J. I think O.J. was fantastic.
He's a great player, and he was funny in movies. Yeah, he was fun in movies.
So I like O.J.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that he killed people, I mean, you know, is it a downside, I guess?
Yeah, and Lord knows, just for anybody that's on Twitter, OJ's one of the very best follows on Twitter ever. If you want to follow, because all OJ does is talks about football, and then every comment underneath it is just about killing people. Every comment underneath, OJ will be like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that the Colts beat the Bears," and then 50 comments in a row will be like, "Kind of like you beating Nicole, right?" Or like you beat Nicole with a knife. You know, I mean, it's just brutal.
Wow.
But he's on there. He's the most fun follow on YouTube or on Twitter.
I'm going to start that like now.
Yeah. Oh, dude, OJ is great, and he always starts off, "What's going on, YouTube people?" or Twitter people. He's hilarious on Twitter, man. He's great.
See, I talked to a guy that wrote books on that whole OJ murder thing, whatever, and he said that no, OJ knew that if it went to trial, he was going to be let go, and that it was actually his son,
right,
who committed the murders, and because that's why the glove wouldn't fit because it was the smaller kid.
Yeah, Jason. It was Jason.
And so and OJ knew, like, hey man, if I go to trial, most likely I'm going to beat this thing. And
yeah, man,
wanted to stand up for his kid and make sure his kid didn't go to jail. Tito is a manager.
Tito as what? The greatest that we've had?
One of the best sports
ever
figures in Cleveland.
Maybe in Cleveland.
But we still haven't won a World Series.
Yeah, and you know, that's like saying, you know, you're the best in the regular season, but you never win anything. What is that really the best? Tito's missing something. Tito's missing. See, that's the whole thing. And I mean, if you're going to count the greatest managers of all time, are you listing Tito Francona? I don't think so.
Didn't he take the Red Sox to a World Series?
He did.
Finally?
So he has he has a championship. I'm not saying he doesn't.
And to do what he's done with some of these Indians/Guardians teams, I think is pretty remarkable. Because it's not like we have the high-priced talent of other markets, and you know we are there all the time. They're always in a running for something.
I'm just doing a quick Google. Greatest managers of all time. It pulled up 42. Let me see if Tito Francona is on any of them. I don't see him. Don't see him. Don't see it. No. He's not listed in the 42 greatest managers of all time. Now, I'm not going to be honest. I did this on the fly. It's not like we planned it. Some of these names I wouldn't put above Tito Francona, to be very clear here. I sure wouldn't put Mike Scioscia over Tito Francona.
No, I would not either.
I don't know that I would put Buck Showalter above him either. There's Tito. Tito is on the 42 greatest. He's, well, what's 42 divided by 3? Whatever that is. He's 42. He's under Walter Alston, who is a great manager. Was a great manager in the 1920s or whatever,
right.
20s or 30s or something. He's again, not saying he's not great. Greatest of all time, though. Certainly greatest in Cleveland history. No, quite honestly, hate to be this guy.
Really,
it's LeBron.
Okay, would you? But as far as
greatest
the
manager of all
time in Cleveland,
I might take Grover.
Really? Well, Grover had so much talent on those teams. I mean,
yeah, but he was able to manage it because he was able to manage it, and much like Tito, he didn't win the big ones. The only reason he had that talent,
they should have won.
The only reason he had, they would have won too if they hadn't had that strike.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that strike screwed. They were what, 130, 100 wins, insane. 30 losses or something like that when the season stopped. They were on pace to win like 115, 120 games. They were unstoppable that year. And Grover had some years where he didn't have amazing talent either, and he took them to the World Series. The years when he had like Matt Williams and that cast of characters and didn't have all the pitching that he had in the 95.
I still think that some of those teams are still better than what we've had recently as far as talent.
Sure.
goes.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, if you were naming top, I'll go back to managers. If I'll just list the top 5 that they list here. You tell me if you think Tito is better than these 5. Tony La Russa.
Better than Tito, you said?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
You think La Russa's better than Tito?
Maybe.
I think he's better than Tito. He's got multiple championships with the A's and the what was the National League team he was with? The Cardinals. Right? Cardinals?
I believe so.
John McGraw. That's way early. That's like the 1910s or whatever.
Yeah, I'll pass on knowing anything about.
Connie Mack, another one from like the 1910s or whatever. But these are like those legendary old guys. Miller Huggins.
Yeah.
Now this one, I might argue the point. Davey Johnson. One with the Mets.
Man.
That's close.
I think Tito's better.
That's a close one. Billy Martin, that's a pretty easy one. Can't really argue. I won like
forget about
a bunch of championships.
But then again, you always have to go back to the kind of talent that they have. What wins championships? Tripp and I used to talk about this all the time. What wins championships? Manage the coach or the players. I mean, it really depends on who you are managing, I guess.
There's so many factors to it. That's why I certainly, if I was picking, Tito would be much lower on my list of all-time Cleveland great guys, just because Tito can't do it alone. Tito has to have the combination of players that are all connecting at the right time and doing, playing well at the right time. He has to have a front office that gets it and knows, like as an example, when they traded Kluber.
Yeah.
When they traded Kluber, don't lie and say you weren't one of those. It was like, what the hell are they doing? Trading the Cy Young guy. Everybody thought that, and then it turned out to be a brilliant move.
I thought that at first, but at the same time, I did have the privilege of working closer to the team with the station I was with, and so there, you knew that there was something wrong with that guy.
Sure,
you knew there was either injuries, there was something going wrong with Kluber that they weren't letting you know.
Yeah,
and so when they traded, I was kind of pissed. Like, okay, here we go again. But I think they knew something that maybe not everybody knew.
Well, dude, how about Lindor?
I was kind of angry about that one.
And yet it's turned out to be better because what's his name that's on the team now? Jimenez? I don't really watch the Indians, but Jimenez is a better player than Lindor.
Lindor, I mean, he suffered a little bit when he went over to the Mets, but I think, he's been doing all right, I guess. Yeah. Kevin Smith?
He's one of my guys. he follows all my things. There's another Toomey show coming, Kevin. It's just in production right now.
You do a lot of stuff, man. You're always out there.
I'm a busy guy.
Yeah, it seems that way. So I don't know. I'm back to the original point of the Jim Brown conversation. Yeah. I like Jim Brown as a player. I think he's a great player.
Agree.
I think that he's probably one of the best, or the best Cleveland Brown of all time.
Of course.
But I get tired of seeing all the love and the praise and everything else without people talking about the bad stuff, because that seems to be the way people do things now. Well, I mean, I know there are certain people out there, and I've talked to them, and I know them personally, who have said, I wouldn't vote for Donald Trump over a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. Literally, that's their quote, not mine.
Sure.
And I said, well, it's not about the person. It's about who's running the country.
Okay. Well, let me.
It's not about the person. It's about who's scoring touchdowns. And everybody seems to overlook the person when it comes to Jim Brown, but not the other way around. Now, I know it's not the president of the United States, but when I want the country to run right, that's what I want.
Look,
and I don't care what they do.
Let's be honest. In Cleveland, a Browns player probably more important than the president of the United States.
I guess. Yeah.
Dude, it goes both ways, and this is where I think we get lost in our own world of politics sometimes. Because I could tell you, and there's 400 different videos of me saying it on the Classic Metal Show when Hillary Clinton was running.
Yeah.
I said numerous times, my exact quote was, I would vote for the BTK killer over Hillary because he killed less people. I said that over and over and over and over. And I meant it. And I wouldn't have cared. You could have trotted Ted Bundy, the ticket of Ted Bundy and Gary Ridgway versus Hillary Clinton and whoever was her running mate. And I would have absolutely voted for the Serial Killers 2020. I would have been that guy because I would have never voted for Hillary. Same as people on the left would not vote for Donald Trump. It becomes quite the game. And I think here the only problem I really have with taking it back to Jim Brown is I don't think we should be erecting statues of guys that have, multiple accusations of anything criminal on them, whether they're guilty or not. I'm again, this is just me. I'm a believer in where there's smoke, there's fire. When there's a lot of smoke, there's more likely fire. And when you see the flames, there's definitely been some fire. Jim Brown, we definitely saw the flames. Yeah. What you read, 7 or 8 accusations of beating women up?
There's a few.
Okay, that's more than one match being lit. That's a stick of dynamite there going off. He had some issues with women.
And I'm not trying to trash somebody that just passed away. God knows, man. When I go, there's going to be plenty of people could trash me for. But I'm also not in the limelight like that. I'm also not, being recognized on billboards throughout town. And, when I saw the billboard and I was reading all these articles, and I found this article on Cleveland.com talking about, hey, all this stuff that he's done in the past kind of is part of his legacy. And I think people forget that. And, maybe they should remember some of the bad things that the guy, I'm sure the girls that accused him of rape and beating the hell out of him, tossing him out balconies, aren't, sitting there saying what a great football player that guy was. I'm so glad, are so upset that he's gone.
Yeah, I'm quite sure the woman that got thrown off the balcony is not booking a ticket to the funeral.
No. And so I just think that it's kind of weird how we work as a society and think that.
Yeah. Yep. Well, we're all celebrity struck. And there's another word for it, but I'm trying not to cuss today as much. But there's this thing about celebrity where for whatever reason we just allow things that we would not allow our friends and neighbors to do, but we allow them to do. You know, like what's the guy's name? The big tall receiver for the Steelers. Plaxico Burress.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Shot himself in the leg
Right.
in a club with a gun in his sweats.
Right.
And did that, if you did that, you would have done 2 to 5
Yeah.
for discharging a weapon and in a club. You would have done at least 2 years for that. What did he do? Nothing. Went to he did community service, I think. And
there's a lot of people out there like that. I mean, the Ray Lewis's of the world, but even the little things. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on with these people that are so-called that our kids look up to.
Sure.
Role models.
Dude, we all do it. We've all done it. I'll go back to my world, which is more music than sports or whatever. In the music world, what was the biggest tour last year in the rock world? Do you know?
No.
It was the big stadium tour with Motley Crue and Poison and Def Leppard or whatever.
Yeah.
Motley Crue
Holy
singer.
crap, those guys. Yeah.
Motley Crue singer killed somebody. Killed him in a drunk driving car. Him and the guy's name was Razzle. He played in a band called Hanoi Rocks. Killed him. Drunk driving.
Right.
Then you got Tommy Lee.
Forget about him.
I mean, multiple arrested, did jail time for beating Pam Anderson, did all this bad stuff. Then you've got, Nikki Sixx with the drugs. I mean, there's a point in all of our lives where we allow celebrities to get away with stuff. I think in the end, and I'll just be my final statement on Jim Brown. My final thought with Jim Brown is, did he do some bad shit? Of course he did. That being said, he also did a lot of good stuff. I mean, you cannot argue that he put himself out there to negotiate the riots in Watts. Right. You can't argue the fact that he was an advocate for speaking your mind and, not stepping up. He was, and again, he was the greatest football player ever to play in Cleveland. So you got to kind of accept him for what he was.